Good evening, happy Sunday, and happy Mother's Day to all mothers watching, wherever you may be, and to mothers here, Karen and Mary. My name is Peter, and I have the honor of being a volunteer board member for Phoenix Renaissance at Myrtle Beach, and I'd like to turn it over to Karen Vassal, Hakeem Hemingway, and Mary Leiter.
I am Akeem Hemingway.
And I am Mary Leiter.
All right. So we're going to tell you a little bit about what we do here and how we're going to take you from the initial history of Phoenix Renaissance and current where we are. So just a little bit about our backgrounds. Like I said, I'm Dr. Karen Vassal. My background is education, higher education. I was a principal, school counselor, elementary teacher, Montessori trained. My first teaching experience was in Alice Springs, Australia, where I taught the Yiparina tribe. And so that was my exposure to Montessori in the flesh, because I've learned the theories of it. So I've taken all those experiences, absorbed them, and forced myself to say, I'm going to use everything and I'm going to put it back to the community, towards the children where it counts. So that is my why I'm here.
Go ahead, big boy.
Yeah. So I'm Akeem Hemingway. I'm originally from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, right here from the race bath community. And it's always been my goal, my plan to, when I stopped playing basketball, I was fortunate enough to travel around the world and have a little stint in the NBA dealing. So I was able to come back once I finished. My plan was to always come back to Myrtle Beach and the race bath community and help out much as possible. I was fortunate and blessed enough to learn a lot. And I believe in, passing the seed for the younger coming up for them to learn and, so we'll see. And I think they will. I think they'll do some beautiful things in the community.
What I noticed about this dream team, and not everyone's here tonight, is the capacity of them to love and serve in a way in which it draws everybody in. And there's no sense of hierarchy, but there's a sense of connectedness. And the true feeling that I get now, after 50 some years, starting with Jane and Elizabeth and Kitty, and before that, Charles, is the sense that to serve with love is a gift, because we really are serving God within each other. And Baba says that that service means that we have the opportunity to see God within each other. And that is transformative. And that is how this particular organization, Phoenix Renaissance and the Race Path community, is the essence of it. It's intergenerational, 5 generations. And Karen, you said that what's a poverty statistic?
86.2% families that resided in the neighborhood, the poverty level, that's the highest poverty level that I've ever experienced in my career, 86.2%. And that's current as of to date.
And it's in Race Path. And the beauty of this is that it's community, or it's centered in the community with the intergenerational families. And the work comes from all of us together. Nobody's deciding ahead of time what should happen. It comes organically from within. And that is what sets us in a wonderful position to learn how to serve each other and what selfless service really feels like, because it's really interrelational.
It is.
Yeah.
One person at a time. And so that's sort of the essence of how we all got connected. I mean, if you look at how we're all connected, it's incredible. Anyway, Charles, it all started with you.
Charles.
Well, no, it started with the grace of God.
Right.
I had nothing to do with it. I mean, seriously. I mean, one goes into these things and you think, oh, I'm doing this, but it's
Yeah.
really, it turns out to be meant to be a gift. And yeah, so, but it was a time when it, Akeem said, about giving his life to helping others. When I came back to Myrtle Beach, Akeem, it was um, heartbreaking to see so many people struggling, so many people left out, so many people treated so badly by their government, ignored. Uh, and so it was heartbreaking. And so that's why some of us in high school, uh, we felt we've got to do something, we've got to do something. And a teacher encouraged us. One good teacher can change your life, Karen, one good teacher. And she was that teacher, Karen Joyner. So anyway, we formed this group. And I think it was the first group in South Carolina. I'm going to say it because I don't know for sure, but first group in South Carolina in high school that had black and white members.
Mhm.
Because you see, Myrtle Beach High School was desegregated the year we moved back to Myrtle Beach from New York, 1965. That was the
Mhm.
first year where we had black students. You imagine board of Brown versus Board of Education was decided in 1954, and this is now 11 years later, and they were just doing it. Anyway, we felt that we needed to work together. And of course, we had a lot of opposition, a lot of pushback, a lot of negativity about it. Black students weren't supposed to go to white students' homes and vice versa. It just wasn't supposed to be. But this is the thing. We just did it because we didn't feel like we were courageous or groundbreaking. We just felt we need to do something. So we did what we could. There were little things here, and we, you know, begged and borrowed for land from Mr. Burroughs to build the Bathsheba Bowens Park, and things like that. We just did it, but that was the seed for that and Happy Club, which my sister Wendy started.
Yeah.
Those two things were kind of simultaneous. Those two things got my mother really engaged with people in the community, my mother Jane, and who had a great heart for service. Uh, and and she also was brokenhearted by the what she saw, the health care needs, the poverty, the city's treatment, all this stuff. So she, through seeing our work, and she got involved. And when we left to go to college, she carried on and created first Community Service Council and later Phoenix Renaissance, and uh, and gave much of her life and time to trying to do the work and inspire people. In the beginning, it was just her. After we left, she had some help with people, especially Happy Club. They volunteered, but Mother would be the one who would go down into the community and find out who was sick, who had health needs, and of course, there's no such thing as going to the doctor. No
Mhm.
such thing as insurance. There's no such thing as free clinic, anything. So she put them, she took them in her car to doctors, and she told those doctors, "You're going to treat these people, and you're going to give them free health care." And you know what? They did it. And so, it was this kind of, we're going to do it anyway, that did it. Now, I'm so happy to be connected with you all, and I'll stop, and then John came into the picture and did tremendous work, uh, selfless work to make all this happen. And Mary came into the picture. So these are the folks who really turned our little effort in high school and Mother's efforts into something real, neighborhood house, friendship house. I mean, important. Uh, but let me just say, the only thing, what I feel today now is all these years later, and the poverty rate, 82%. I mean, what kind of built-in racism allows that? What kind of neglect of human beings by government allows that? And is pernicious. So all the work, all the efforts I want to say we did a lot of good, and God's grace and love was in it all, and worth every moment. It was more for us. We got more out of it than anybody that we served. But change, that has to come, in its right time, and it has to come from within the community. And what I'm gathering now from all your efforts is this is the time.
Yeah,
This is
that's it.
so
That's the
thank
yeah.
thank you for letting me share that origin story.
How about when your sister Wendy started Happy Club? Because Akeem is a happy clubber.
I
Yeah.
know.
And Akeem went on the gondola.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure Hakeem and I were together, and if I saw pictures of a little boy, I'd probably recognize you, Hakeem. Yeah. Uh, well, my sister has the biggest heart, of anyone I know. And as a young girl, when we moved back, she was what, in I don't know what she was, sophomore, freshman in high school. She went home well, she went with Elizabeth to take Bessie Graham home. And Bessie Graham was Elizabeth's housekeeper for so many years. She actually cooked for Mayor Baba when he came to the center in the early 50s. And she was like the family, Elizabeth's family. We were very close. And then her daughter-in-law, Evelina, also. And so we had that. But Wendy went home to take her home one day, and she saw Bessie's grands, the three little girls, playing in the street, and no paved street, just this muddy
But
dirt
yeah.
thing. And she saw that this is what they had. There's no playground. And she said to Elizabeth, we called her Auntie Boo. She said, why can't they come play at the center? You know, the wouldn't they like that? There's the lake, there's the beach, and they would love that. And Elizabeth said, "Well, that's a wonderful idea." And so that's how Happy Club started. Was this young girl's just heart going out to these kids, and then of course we all fell in love with everybody else. I mean, the Bessie's grands. Uh, Mary, you may not even know this. Maybe you do. Elizabeth put them through college secretly.
I didn't know that.
I know, I didn't either until recently. Somebody told me that they saw, Kitty said that Elizabeth would bring her these checks, signed checks to send, and never say anything about it. But Kitty finally figured it out that this was but that's Elizabeth. She would never say, I did this. I never, ever, ever. So I don't know half of what she did. But what I'm saying is that there was a deep, deep connection. The oldest of the grands, Bessie's grands, met Meher Baba as a baby in 1958, the same time I met Meher Baba at the center. And there's a film of Bessie bringing this baby up to greet Baba, and Baba reaching up to kiss the baby. And my sister Wendy suddenly rushes in to the picture, it kind of crashes the picture. And so there's Wendy between Baba and the baby.
How wonderful.
And that was 1958. And it was on that spot, believe it or not, 65 years later, when the first Happy Clubbers came to the center. That was the playground spot where Mayor Baba sat and greeted that baby. And the earliest Happy Clubbers were Bessie's grands, including that older one who met Mayor Baba on that spot. Now, I didn't put that together until years later. We didn't think of it. But
I know.
but think of that. That's the real origin story, right? And yeah, so oh my God. The kids at Happy Club gave us so much. We didn't know what we were doing, but and today we would do it better and differently, I'm sure. But it was this good-heartedness anyway, and the kids were so great and they gave us so much. So yeah, that was how it started with Wendy. Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
That was a beautiful story. And
yeah.
it's so important to how we're here now and why and how this the Renaissance is happening. It really is. And so we have these beautiful people who are in their 40s, so they don't have to go and figure out who they are.
Yeah.
Still working.
And we're the older people trying to be supportive,
Yes,
like Elizabeth and Jane were to us.
yes,
And
exactly.
so we get to do that. And how they did it, I don't know, but we're trying. Because these are beautiful souls. And one of the things we talked about yesterday, when we were planning this today, was that it's really relationship by relationship, and people give, when we came to the center, Elizabeth or Jane would say, hey, and they get us involved right away with something, and we would be doing it. We didn't know what we were doing, but it really didn't matter because we'd be with the station wagon, Annie Boo's station wagon or Jane's,
Yeah.
and picking up the kids. And you remember trying to
Oh,
get
yeah.
in the back of the station
Oh,
wagon.
With all these
yeah.
other, yeah, jammed in there. I broke
That's
every
right.
law, I'm sure.
Right, I did.
Yeah. So Akeem and Karen, I'm really anxious to hear what it is that's going on there now. What are you all up to? What are you doing?
Well,
I mean, I hear some from Mary, but I just want to hear from you. What is
Hear from them.
yes, well,
Yeah.
we could definitely show you. And Peter, can I share my screen at this time?
Yes, please share your screen.
All right.
All this has occurred since you came at the end of July.
Yes.
The
Time at Race Path Community Learning Center changed my life.
Race Path Community Learning Center, where we cultivate brilliance, foster resilience, and redefine what's possible for our children and community.
To learn more about our upcoming events, visit our website.
So that is our commercial that's airing about every other day during, let's see, probably during the daytime. So we have special highlights of what's going on. But this right here is the real kicker, where it takes us back to where we were and where we are now. And this is the ribbon cutting.
WMPF News.
Go back here.
A recent facelift has given new life to a beloved and historic community center right here in Horry County.
Our Lauren Korn and photojournalist George Hansen show us around the revamped building and tell us how it's creating a brighter future for the Race Path community.
No. Okay. One, two, three, four.
It's a social hub for learning, laughing, and love.
Come on in. Come
Just
on in.
ask
Hey.
Hakeem Hemingway.
This is the greatest place to me in life. You know, help me succeed to go on in life and do some things. Why wouldn't I come back and reinvest in this? Okay, well, let's go ahead and load up, guys.
Hakeem is the director of Race Path Community Learning Center, an after-school and summer program for children in Horry County.
We try to make it a safe learning place. Some kids learn better in classrooms. Some kids learn better in like loungy areas. So if you walk through the building, you'll see there's different accommodations for that.
How long did it take y'all to transform this
I did
room?
it within 2 weeks.
Hakeem and his team spent weeks revamping before relaunching the new and improved building.
Yep, that's a house like before.
Giving a tour of everything they now have to offer.
So not all the way
Wow.
done yet, but
Colorful classrooms, a library, and a lit-up, decked-out game room, all surrounded by inspirational touches on the walls.
like, live simply, adventure. You know your worth. Better together, thankful, grateful, be kind. Faith over fear.
But to understand the pride of the Race Path Community Learning Center,
This is an original back in the field, like.
you have to understand the pride of Race Path. That began in 1940 with a man named Daniel Lamb.
We have many intergenerational groups of families here. Mr. Lamb, he gave plots of land to the residents in the community, and as he gave the plots of land to the community residents, the Race Path community continues to grow through that. And it's called the house that love built.
Residents like Francis Washington and other volunteers built the cornerstone of this community called Neighborhood House in 1975, a center that included a playground that doubled as a learning area.
Love is the foundation.
Francis becoming the first teacher and meeting best friend Dr. Mary Clayton Leiter, who also helped build the center.
My heart of spirituality was born here. So we taught math and everything in the sandbox.
Mary spent 4 decades improving Race Path's quality of life that in turn changed her own.
Taught me what I needed to become. And the love is the most powerful part of it all.
The women now teaming up with Akeem to build a better future for these children and future generations to come.
We are in the beginnings of that whole thing bursting forth and the blooming again, just like it did in the past. It's right here.
So that's everyone. Yep. To go out and learn and then come back and reinvest into your city and your community is the key and the goal. We just want this to be the biggest, the best place ever for the kids to learn and succeed.
If you have good news to share, email goodnews@WNBFnews.com or message me on Facebook. In studio, Lauren Korn, WNBF News.
All right. So that's just a little dose of what we're doing, a snapshot, but we are people that's on the move, and it shows in everything we do. Yeah. So recently, like you said, Charles, with the investment within the community and knowing that this is a LMI area, low to moderate income area at 86.2%, we have partnered with the county to push forward the neighborhood revitalization efforts that was on hold about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So uniting everyone together within the community and making sure that their voices are being heard, we were able to push forward the second phase and have more money allocated to that project.
The block grant.
The block grant, yes. So they allocated $750,000 more to extend the sewer lines, build more sidewalks, just to make the neighborhood more better again.
To take out the mosquitoes and all the sitting water, this community still does not have garbage pickup.
Yeah.
There's no consistent way for them to get rid of their garbage or large things. So there's a lot of stuff sitting around. If you want to take your garbage, you have to go 10 miles one way and 10 miles back.
Yeah.
So it's 20 miles to just get rid of your garbage.
And some residents they burn their trash. And because we're situated right in the city of Myrtle Beach, but we're not a part of the city of Myrtle Beach, there is the revitalization of the city. And so there has been a struggle back and forth as to the city trying to get us, or entities trying to get us to annex with the city, which will be really, really bad for the residents here because it will increase their taxes, and it's a possibility that they could lose their land because of that type of action.
And they don't have deeds to the land because it's intergenerational, passed from one family to the next in generations, so they can lose their land. So it's like a donut between 501 and Grissom Parkway.
And the airport is right there.
And the airport.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it's how many homes here?
I say about 200 residents.
200 residents.
Give or take.
So we've been here doing the work. We're currently doing the work and pushing forward these efforts and making sure that the residents' voices are heard and actually moving the needle. So,
and when you say that, it was like this. Talk about how the community decided how they wanted to talk with Howard.
Yes, the county councilman. So we all got together and we met. And so we organized our conversations around the questions that the community members had. And so they would write their questions on a sheet of paper and pass it to me. And then I would read it to the county council members and his staff and give them an opportunity to respond.
The city came and the county, because they pay city taxes for water.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And county taxes for everything else. Okay, so because of the strategy of the community saying they wanted to stay together, they didn't want somebody to represent them. We had a meeting They picked someone as a spokesperson who had 3 minutes in the county meeting. In 3 minutes, what happened?
They scheduled a meeting with us. They
Yeah,
said,
They
that's
scheduled a meeting and they came here and the community said, we just have one person talk. We'll give our lesson. Karen, Dr. Vassal was the spokesperson. Our beautiful, the group, all these adults from both sides had never been in here. And there was a wonderful give and take and flow,
Yeah.
wasn't
It
there?
was.
yes.
It
Yes.
was. And they said that was one of the best meetings they had ever been to, community-wise organized, because they said most times, most residents want to, get in their faces, want to fight them and stuff like that. But this one was very organized, well put together.
And in November, that was in November, and the money came in February, the 750.
Yep.
And that block grant had been approved in 2014 and never implemented.
Can I just ask about the follow-up about the deed? Not to get into the weeds, John's not here, the lawyer, but I mean, I'm sure you all are exploring it. Is there a way to secure the ownership for these residents so that they don't have this insecurity? Because let's say the city, the cities have such power, and what if they do annex? And in some ways, in the long term, maybe that would be a good thing. I don't know, but whatever it is, to secure their rights to their land, is they don't, after a certain number of time, don't they have the right to it just by virtue of being there all that time, or don't know the law that well?
Well, what we've done, we're partnered with the Center of Heirs Property in Charleston, South Carolina, which is a nonprofit organization that provides free legal advice to residents pertaining to heirs property. And so they will have their presentation here on May 15th at our next community meeting.
And part of that is the fear the residents have, because you have to find every heir, right?
Right.
That's right.
And they have to sign off on it, and that's very hard. But the other strategy that we've been discussing is, because Neighborhood House was the first federally funded child development program in Horry County, because Mr. Lamb gave the land, and and because Friendship House was came from this here, we could, and we're exploring becoming a historical site. And if we're a historical site, then everyone's protected. So it seems like, I don't know if that answers your question. I mean, it is really important. A few people have tried to get deeds. You have deeds for years, but other people, it's very complicated. We can get the lawyers' help,
Yeah.
what you've been reached out to.
Yeah.
It's very time consuming. And you might as well share about Habitat when they come.
Yes. So Habitat has been working with the residents before Akeem and I came here in August, and from my understanding, they were provided with the $250,000 from the Chapin Foundation to help with the park. But when I asked the residents, did they know about that, they said no, they didn't know Habitat had the funds to do that, and that was not mentioned to them at all. But Habitat offered a grant, a small Sparks grant for $1,000 per resident to do a grant to fix up
their houses. The problem with that is the residents were very scared that if they
Yes.
can't pay back the mortgage,
yeah.
then they'll lose their houses.
Mhm.
And so when the community said, no, we don't want you to go for us to talk to the county about the block grant, we want to go, we want you to go with us.
Yes.
And we'll do our own talking. That's when Habitat dropped out. And so there's been a lot of dynamics that makes this different than anything else. It's not a top down, it's coming from within. It's not based on certain people come in and tell you how to do it. It comes from within.
Right.
So we're struggling because we have this dream team. When Reverend Gauze ran this place, he never took a salary out.
Right, no, never
No.
put
So-
salary in the budget.
Or kept records. So when she's written how many grants? 15, 20
gosh.
grants.
Yeah.
We don't have the 3 years to show the solvency of the organization.
And so those grants would be so beneficial because it would fund our salaries and help with general support, general operational support. And we do get funding from the Mayor's Spiritual Center, but there is a big deficit that doesn't cover our salaries. So we have been working off of donations. And thank you for the donations that you have
Yeah.
supplied.
Thank you.
But
Yeah.
the work continues to grow. Our enrollment with the students are continuing to grow.
Yeah.
The work in the neighborhood and helping members come to the table and push forward what they need, that continues to grow. So it's a beautiful thing with the growth, but unfortunately there's a gap in the funding that we're working on.
Akeem, talk about what happened with the gross Publix.
So as of recently, we've been in talks with Publix, and they've been so generous to help us. I found out a lot about Publix, what they have to offer, and I had a little cousin named Jarek Knox. We were able to get him a job at Publix yesterday, actually. So next week he'll be going to orientation. He'll be starting next week, which is super exciting. So it's a matter of changing and able to help the younger generation, even with jobs and everything. And we're talking about a cousin that probably wouldn't had the chance to even,
No.
wouldn't had a chance in the neighborhood, Now he's getting the opportunity, and I'm going to help him with a bank account and everything, and
Yeah.
just try to sharpen him up.
He's been to 3 schools this year.
Yeah.
So
So
The other thing is that you got to talk about how they found you. How did Publix find you?
That's a good story.
so I'll let you.
You go ahead.
So, Publix found me through a friend of mine, Hollywood, who's a barber, who cuts hair at at the mall actually, and Publix was looking for a place to invest in, to help, kind of a grassroots place from the ground up, and the first name they called was the Boys and Girls Club, and my friend was like, no, 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 you come to Race Path. Akeem Hemingway is the guy. He's a great guy. I'm telling you, this is the place you want to be. So that's how we all got connected.
And Publix wants to invest in.
Yes.
Yep, here at the Community Learning Center. So
we did a presentation. We spoke to the corporate folks at Publix. We did a Zoom. So we spoke to the diversity director, not the general manager, but the regional manager, and the donations director.
Yeah.
And what does that mean?
That means they were very impressed
Yeah.
about what we have to offer. And they're
Yeah.
looking to, we fit everything that they wanted to actually work towards or work with.
Now, this happened a week ago.
This happened a week ago.
Yeah, they want to come in and just be hands-on, and they've been looking for a model site like us.
Yes.
So I believe, great things are to happen here in the future.
And Karen, talk about some of the grants you've written and what things
Yes.
look like. We have 80 children this summer, not 50.
Yes.
30 more children.
Yes, so I've submitted the 21st Century Community Learning Grant, which is a grant that focuses on after-school programs and summer programs. That grant will fund teachers' stipends, field trips, and children go free. So that's a criteria of the grant that we cannot charge because the grant will provide the funding and support for that program. And so that grant will support us if we're successful. I'm saying we are.
Yeah.
That grant will support our organization for 4 years.
So we're in this interim between all these beautiful grants, this revitalization, which begins in the community and the community can have voice in, and there's this place where we don't have enough money to pay these people. between now and when those things began. Plus, just like when Jane and Elizabeth helped us in the early CVS, everybody volunteered. And the gifts you can give, like, there's so many different ways. How many boys cannot read in this community?
Oh, gosh, yes.
The
it's
reading problem, the literacy is
Yeah.
just,
a big gap.
so
Yeah.
once we get through this rough period, we can bring in people to become reading buddies. And all these teachers that are retired, that where we did literacy, we start a publishing company with the kids writing. It's all just right here. We just can't quite
Yeah,
get
quite.
there.
It's
Yes.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
everything that's in this building, they got donated.
Yes.
Mhm.
And so a majority of our enrollment are boys.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, a large some of them boys. Um, I mean, just from the time you walk in the door to now, like I got before and after videos of how the building used to look and how it looks now, night and day, night and day.
Was this building what the police precinct was before?
No, so we had the other building. This building came maybe 6, 7 years ago. The one that we came up in was the precinct building, which was just a single wide trailer. Um, it was a single wide trailer.
And we got that because there were so many drugs in Race Path
Yeah.
that the county finally built a precinct.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we got the drugs out of here.
Mm-hmm.
There was 2 street lights, and they used to shoot them out
Yeah, shoot them out.
so they could get in and out. And my neighbor, John and our neighbor, I just found out paid for the electricity for those lights.
Mm-hmm.
And we just realized we're connected. And they contribute to the program in the summer. So the beauty of this is that it's not top down. It's not a hierarchy. The leadership comes from mentoring, and we're talking about what, a charter school?
Yes, so our next steps in the future to continue the sustained growth is to write a charter application for entrepreneurial leadership school, charter school, which focuses on business skills, creative arts, with the Jane Barry Haynes creative arts program. And so that will give our kids the skills at an early age, 6th grade and up, so that they'll be ready for the workforce and know how to navigate through life. And if they don't have the option to go to college, they will have good leadership and business skills as well.
And Dr. Four, who is the president of Horry Georgetown Tech, would even have some courses taught here, right in the center, and bring the faculty here so that we would have the opportunity to not get separated from each other as this grows organically.
Yes.
So that it really serves individuals within the whole.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
You
Like
all, I just want to say you all are doing everything beautifully right, in my humble opinion. I mean, everything you've said to me, in my experience, is exactly how it should work. I mean, especially coming from within the community, being organic, and especially doing with that spirit of service and love. I mean, and practically to corporate foundations are huge and sometimes overlooked as a major source of funding. And if you get one, it can lead to others. So that strategy is just brilliant. And now, of course, there's so many foundations, but I mean, and Karen, gosh, I mean, what a thing to write all these grants. It's very challenging and to find the right foundations. There are, of course, some foundations out there that will fund even if they don't have that prior. I mean, some of them will see, but so one has to find the right ones. But you all are touching all the right bases, I think, and it's so inspiring. But all of that is number two. Number one is look at those kids, just look at those kids.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
what difference you can just tell by the images. What a thing. You're changing their lives. And man, that's
So,
everything.
Charles, when I think about when you said that beautifully about it feels right to you, what the organic and all. How is it connected to the new humanity in the sense of, I know that's a big question, buddy, but since I know you can just whip that out. The way in which when we see God in each other and we learn patience, these people have been so patient and they have pushed the perseverance, that capacity, all those qualities that Baba and Jesus wants in us. We're learning daily. We're living daily. Is that helpful?
Well, I mean, it is the new humanity. It's not connected to it. It is it.
Yeah.
Because when it's lived, it's real. That's what it is. It's only when it's lived. Otherwise, it's just an idea or thoughts or, talking about it. That's not the new humanity. And people do talk a lot about, we need this, we need that, but to do it is the new humanity. So that's, to me, it's not a connection. It's the living example of what Baba meant by new humanity. And also, what strikes me in all that you've said is that Mayor Baba used to say, when asked how to love God, by a reporter, for example, in 1956, but many, many times, he said, how to love God? Well, live, you can live a natural life. You can, have your family, your responsibilities, but do one thing. Don't do all that. He said, go to the movies, enjoy theater. I mean, it's like live your life. But he said, but just in doing it, do one thing. And the one thing, and he said this many times in his life, the one thing is make others happy, even at the cost of your own happiness. Love others, serve others, make others happy. That, he said, is to love God. That is to love God. That's the one thing. If you do that, the selfishness disappears naturally. You don't have to make it go away. Just absorbed in serving, it disappears. And that's what the spirit that I get from what you're saying is you all are diminishing, reducing the falseness of the self and allowing the real self to come through your service and your love and your caring. All the things you've done in your lives, both of you, so many different things, incredible things, interesting things, and then here you are. And that is very deeply significant to me because that is, the timing is just so extraordinary that you would be brought here. I don't think it's your decision. This is my conviction. I'm just saying, I'm not saying that I know, but this is how I feel. My conviction is that we are brought to it and given this when the time is right. And not only is the time right, but the people are right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Let's get Stu.
And I know for a fact I'm in the right
Yes.
place. Like
Yes.
it's not a doubt in my mind.
Same here.
And they have to give pay cuts to their salary to stay here. And hey, Stuart, since you wrote Baba's name in the bottom of the septic tank when we were building neighborhood house,
I heard about that.
what do you have to say, big boy?
Ah, well, the one thing that really stands out to me, being in your community, Hakeem and Karen, because I worked with Mary and John back in the 70s. And I was a project coordinator for Neighborhood House and then Friendship House. It changed my life. Being there changed my life, set the tone of my life forevermore, up until now, 50 years later. And remember one day I was on the Mayor Barber Center, 1975 or so, and I overheard these Barber guys talking, and one of them said, "Oh, it's white guilt." And I realized they were talking about me and what I was doing in Race Path. And I didn't let them know I heard, but I just said to myself, "White guilt? Are you kidding me?" And I repeated it to Mary, and Mary said, "They don't get it. They don't get it, you know." And we're so fortunate to be there. And that's what I always felt, you know. I get stirred in my heart. And I'll repeat something. We knew Reverend Gauze as basically a lovable, happy juvenile delinquent. You know, he'd try to steal tools from us and rouse the other kids up to give us trouble. And the whole time he was laughing. And anyway, I moved away from Myrtle Beach, 1980, ended up on Cape Cod for a lot of years. Unexpectedly ended up becoming a builder and carpenter. And in the 90s, one night, Reverend Gauze called me, you know, and he had such a distinctive voice. And it just said, "You know who this is?" And I said, "Sure, I know who it is." And he said, "Do you know what I'm doing?" And to myself, I'm thinking, doing time? You know, I don't know. Because of the way he was. And he said, "I'm a minister." And I said, "You're a what?" And he said, I'm a minister." And I said, "How did you become a minister?" And he said, "Well, you know, I went to Miss Jane, Charles's mother, Jane Haynes. And he said to me, I wanted to be like you and John and Mary." And I said, "You're kidding me." And he said, "No." And I went to Miss Jane. I said, "Miss Jane, what do I do? I want to be like them." And Miss Jane, and he was known as Augie, right? And Jane at the time, he was 27 years old or so. She said, "What do you think you can do, Augie?" And he said, I became a minister, and that's the story of how I got into this position." And he and I kept up with each other. But what was amazing to me, I had no idea that he was being affected. You know, John and Mary and Charles and I had some sense how much we were being affected, but that connection with Augie, Reverend Gauze, just blew my mind, and what was just an enormous lesson in life. And it was and is the love, you know, there's no question. Yeah.
Who's that? Is that
Bobby.
Bobby? Hey, Bobby. Come to us and share.
Okay, well, I'm just so happy to be here. I wanted to say that probably you'd have a lot more people, but it's a holiday Sunday, so I hope this is being recorded, so I hope that a lot of more people will, you know, be able to hear this and watch. I'm very moved. You know, in this day and age, when the federal government is it's anti everything that helps people. You know, I mean, I could say a lot, but I won't get into it. It's terrible. But this is the way things are going to have. This is to me gives me optimism and happiness and hope. Things will changes and have to come from the community now first of all. I mean, that's always been the case, but even more so that the federal government right now is fighting people, So this is how things have to happen. People with love coming together and, new humanity. So anyway, I'm just very happy to hear all this.
And I want you to share how you designed the Chapin Children's Library.
Oh,
Chapin Library.
Well, let me just say, I know, Mary, you've heard this before, but I was living up in New York, and I got a call from Lois Brager. Kitty Davy asked her to call me, that there was a position open as the first children's librarian at Chapin Library. And so, I just came down here immediately to have the interview, and Shirley Boone just loved Jane and Elizabeth because she knew that they'd helped, with the library to get it going. And so I got hired right away. And so one of the first assignments that I had, and I had been doing this I had in a federal grant program in Albany, New York. I had going to daycare centers in people's homes or in an official center, and reading and singing and playing music. So my first assignment just about was to go to Neighborhood House and Friendship House and to do children's programs, music, books, and all. So that was really a joy for me to be on the continuum of this. All this had started, and the other thing was that I had been in a very big public children's library up in Spring Valley, New York. So I did have a knowledge of all kinds of multicultural books and materials. So she gave me open door to start the children's section of the library. There was a few little sparse books there, but there, it wasn't a lot. She did her best. She was running the whole library, but things got so many more people moved to Myrtle Beach. So anyway, I was able to develop the library, and the Chapin Foundation helped with we had a budget for books, but Chapin Foundation helped with materials, puppets, musical instruments for the, and for programs, bringing in people to perform. So anyway, yeah, so I was in on that. And then of course, we worked together, Mary and I worked together in different.
And Lois, and we went to all these centers and read books to children and helped build publishing companies. The thing is that we need you here because we have books, but we don't have them organized. And we need a library. We need your beautiful brains to help us get this to work. So, I mean, it's an open invitation. It's not overwhelming, just to help us get started. And especially because these boys that aren't reading and these children that are not reading, we need to really, we want to do something wonderful. And all the retired teachers that I had the pleasure of teaching their masters to, who are retired, we could create a force. We could get those kids reading by the end of the summer.
Oh, yeah.
But we need the right, those books, those family stories and all those incredible books. The other thing I will say to you is because you designed that beautiful library and you were given that gift, all of my students who took literacy went to that library, even Sue Ellen afterwards, and they were exposed. The young women who were they were exposed to all that literature. So do you see how it went?
I've always been fired up from the very beginning of being a librarian to having diversity. equity and inclusion. So
And,
anyway,
and
it's just been part of my nature. It's like, this library is for everybody. The library's for everybody. So, yeah. So
Yeah.
I hope that, with a group and, I don't know if I could take that on my own, a library, but
Not asking you to take it on, just come and give us some pointers, give us a vision.
be happy to. I would be happy to.
Thank you, Bobby. And I would like to add as well, Bobby's also a wonderful musician, and I have some great memories of the past couple years playing with Bobby and a group of other musicians in the area when the summer camp visited the center. We played for the Race Path Summer Camp some fun sing along songs that the kids like love to dance and sing along, and I enjoyed that with Bobby helping out with that. So thank you, Bobby.
Yeah, I think that what's so amazing is how if we look at our life maps and we see how all of this comes and all the stories of all the people that Jane and Elizabeth got us involved and Kitty, how they just the training of selfless service training was happening every day and every moment. And it was Baba. So
Connected.
that's how it is. And since we know that feeling, since we know that experience, we can help do it with these kids. It'll come naturally.
Yeah. Oh, I would love to be part of this, however, in what capacity I can help.
Yeah, because it's not a big time commitment. It's more of a relationship building, a reading friend or whatever, but all the talent.
Yes.
And we're older and we're retired, so we can give it just like Elizabeth and Kitty and Jane did. They made it their life. And then we don't have to worry about our problems.
Right.
Which is a gift.
Oh, yes.
You were about to say something?
Oh, I was about to, as a segue into what Mary was saying. So it's contagious what we're doing here, because I have people reaching out to me from Georgetown, South Carolina, Conway, South Carolina. Children want to attend the program here. So it's super contagious, and I have to put it on pause because we have to get this, we have to get right first. Or stabilized first before we can.
Yeah, I think it's stabilized.
Yes,
It's like
yes.
making sure the
Yes.
seeds are deep enough in.
That's right.
And we need some kind of a foundation
Mhm.
or an endowment so that we don't have to struggle like this every time. So that when we went to Chapin this time,
Yes.
we were turned down twice.
Turned down twice.
Wow.
And we don't know what all those dynamics are. And we don't know if the members of the board know, but we're not getting through. And not that we should be the only ones, but something as beautiful as 30 additional kids, 80 kids this summer, and we couldn't get additional help from them.
Yep.
So I mean, that's where we are. So it's not whining, it's just saying,
Yep.
it's a push. It's
Yeah.
a constant push.
Yep.
Akeem, I noticed in the chat we have a question from Stu Baker. He wanted to know if you approached Subaru. He said they make it a point about community involvement.
I have not.
Oh, definitely reach
We
out.
definitely have to reach
Yes.
out. Yeah, Subaru.
Here we Subaru. But
Thank you, Stu.
Yeah, thank you.
Does anyone have any questions at this time as well? We can feel free to open this up for questions. That's good.
I just want to say thank you.
Yeah.
To everyone, because
yes,
each of your sharings today and the recognition of who these people are and how we got them. They were at the Boys and Girls Club. They were trained there. They were already a team. There's two more people that aren't here. Braylon and
Jay Brian.
Jabrion.
Jay Brown, and they came already
Yeah.
set up. Baba had them all there, ready, a team, collaborative, cohesive, kind, loving, no backbiting.
It's amazing.
Saying
One-
it like it is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I want to say that I'm honored. Hearing the story, seeing how it all comes together, and see where what it all started from. So for me, it's a learning lesson being a race path kid. Growing up through the program and everything. I just want to say that I'm grateful and thank you guys. Honestly,
Thank you.
without you guys, so thank you from my heart. Thank you.
Thank you. And it
Yeah,
looks like Stu, you have a question or a comment?
Yes, thank you. You hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I just want to say, Akeem and Karen, both of you are inspiring. And your love, your intelligence, your commitment, the purity of both of you, it pours out of the screen, honestly. So God bless you both. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
It's so true. You must be real receptive, buddy. You must have that intuition stuff going down.
I want to say thank you as well, and I'm grateful and so honored to be. Growing up, I just experienced a lot, and I remember telling myself and sharing with my grandmother that, that I could be used as a vessel for goodness, and whatever I learn and whatever I absorb that's light, allow me to share that light and spread that light. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to do that here. So thank you.
Well, we're grateful for you. I tell you, it's those of us on this call who, like Stu said, 50 years go way back. I mean, it's so wonderful to see that this full circle has come, and the love and the inspiration that was there in the beginning is now back full force, and in a very special way, a more organic way, a more based in the community way. I mean, it's just what I'd always hoped would happen at some point, and here it is. So yes, Stu said it well. You all you exude that love and that spirit, and it just it's just obvious that you are the right people at the right time, and the rest of us have to do what we can to support it. Find a way to help. I mean, that's all we can do, and I'm sure that it's meant to be, so the right support will come. It will come.
Thank you. Thank you.
When Elizabeth would say, when we would be so worried because we had no money, she'd say, keep the focus on the children.
That's right.
Yeah.
Keep the focus on the children and keep it small enough so that you know every piece of it and you all know respect each other's part in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's here. It's happening here.
It is.
I know I've been praying, and I can just feel it. I know it's just right on the cusp of something, like for this whole thing to just take off. It's right there. It's right there. You're just at a standstill in a holding point. But when things are worth it, it seems like you always have to go through a tough or a challenging time. And we're just at that tough standstill challenging time right now. But it's like right on the cusp. But there's nothing I'd rather be doing in the world. Like for me, being involved in sports and being a part of the NBA and have my chance, to live my dream through that over the years. Now, like me being competitive in high school and wanting to win a championship, seeing these kids go to college, seeing these kids grow up, be successful, those are my championships now. So that's how I take it. That's how I want to change this program to the next level. So the better success rate we have these kids coming through this program being successful, more championships I win. And I like to think I'm the greatest.
That's right.
So that's how I play it. Real, that's how I look at it. I mean, that's how I,
Yes.
that's me.
Yeah.
That's my,
That's the
yeah. And that's how I want to play it. But I can feel it.
And the kids
That's right.
love him. The kids respect him. The kids feel comfortable around him. They trust him. They're secure around him. And that is obvious. I mean, they're not scared of him. They're not, the way he works with them is almost through silence. Just his face, just his quality, just his movements. They can't resist him.
It's their turn, it's their turn to go do some, their turn to be successful. So
Yeah, you don't know how many parents come up and say to us, this is the only place our child is successful here,
Yeah.
because every other place they would call or kick them out. And that doesn't happen here.
no, they deserve a chance.
Yes.
Peter,
Yes, Mary.
you're the man.
Thank
So
you. Thank you all
wonderful,
for
Peter.
coming.
It's such a
You guys
pleasure to
are,
work with
are
you
an
on this
amazing
board.
team. It's an honor to work with you and the whole team that we have, the dream team, like you like to call it.
No, the support system, seeing this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Looks like
Yeah.
Cheryl, you want to say something?
Hi. I haven't done much with RacePath, but it's interesting. I don't know if you can see me or not, but at a certain point when Reverend Gallus was there, I numerous times brought things that I wanted to give away, and I brought them down to RacePath. Are you and they were things that some of them were Reverend Gallus was very happy to have. And so are you still accepting things like that? It's not money, but it's items from my house and furniture and clothing and kitchen stuff. And I just thought sometimes people can really use things. And I encourage people when I speak with them, when I'm out for supper or lunch or just meeting I'm a member of the Baba community, by the way, for you guys who work here. Just encourage them to give to organizations which are not charging money, like the big box, donation places. I even forget the name because I've never donated there. So I'm wondering if that is helpful or not. And if you might create a list of things you could send out to people who ask that you might need in particular for families there in RacePath.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Excellent.
Wonderful suggestion. I just gave Karen a whole bunch of Montessori materials that I have from when I was at the Ori Georgetown, and she's a Montessori teacher. So we can start to integrate some of those wonderful things right in, and she can teach the rest of us how to utilize them, because they're hands-on concrete materials that help kids do everything without intimidating them on paper.
Right.
By the way, she changed the room back around in the back.
She
She was
did.
for that. Yes.
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 Okay.
Yes.
Yes. That yesterday when we met with Peter
We
to
came
talk
back
about today.
and came back and we got right on it. Changed the whole room around.
So when you say that, Cheryl, I'm thinking of whiteboards too, and different kinds of materials
Oh, yeah.
to help with art. And the Jane Berry Haynes Creative Arts, we got a bus now, so we can take the high school kids and the middle school kids to the 8th Avenue where the Bay Symphony gave us a space. So once we get that going and we get people to volunteer to help teach those classes, what are you foreseeing being taught there?
Oh gosh, everything from like ceramics to, sculpting to performing arts. I love the performing arts, the theater, music, singing. Oh my gosh, I do
drumming.
The drumming, the theater with the little girls, and they like to do the role playing in the plays, and we already started our little plays. So I mean, oh my gosh. Yeah, I see that going very well. Screenwriting, I mean, even going to that for our screenwriting and
Film,
access to
film,
film. Yes,
film.
yes.
photography. It's all here, plus we have the talent in the community to take people can give a couple hours and that can happen. So it's just being able to pull it all together and have enough sustenance so these people can do the work, not struggle with the money.
Right.
Right. So, and yeah, I'm thinking that maybe if we could get permission to do it, make requests, you guys could make requests of things you might need that, through Baba Zoom to all the Baba community, because it goes out to people all around the world, the Baba Zoom thing.
Yeah, like ours
And I suggested with someone who lost a member of her family and was struggling financially that we do a fundraiser for her. So I don't know what's possible. A woman named Angela Chan is in charge of that, but it really made a difference in this one woman's life, something I just happened to suggest to her to do it, because I'm not volunteering for anything with technology or computers. But I just have ideas. And so if you could create a list that might even be that maybe Mary could help segue that to the rest of us if it doesn't work with Baba Zoom.
Peter can do it.
To let the community know, our community, all the Baba, and it's not just here in Myrtle Beach, but all around this country and the world, literally, to things that people might donate money to that could be purchased, or things that they have that could go to some of your programs. Right now, I wish I could send you guys some money for your salaries. I mean, that shocks me. That and that you don't have trash pickup there just in that community blows my mind. I mean, I'm appalled. It seriously blows me away, which of course is a phrase from the 70s, but that's when I was the age that Mary was.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Mary?
Let it be, the Beatles.
Let it be. Yeah, blows my mind. So anyhow, I'll say some prayers for things that sound like they're about ready to burst into flower, happen very quickly and happen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary and Peter, for having this on a Zoom.